all this is flooded in here.
Yeah, so this was underwater where we are now.
Yeah.
It's a month later, 3 months later, 6 months later that people are really starting to take assessment and see what the real needs are. And I want you to know, I want to be with you every step of the way, because all of the goodwill of the first few days when everybody's there, when that starts to fade, that's when people are really hurting, and they're really trying to get through those difficult forms and rejections and all the things you have to get through to get the help you need. So I wanted to come out here on the ground with your county commissioners to get a real assessment of what is going on.
This is the family here that got rescued off the roof here
really?
on the Coast Guard. Had ice chest tied to them for flotations, logs banging up against their house. As you can see, we moved a lot of debris away from their house, moved it back.
Okay, so you're drying this house out now, right now. How long, to get them back in here, what else do you have to do?
This is going to take about a little over 2 days. At $1,000 a day we're spending on dehues.
You're talking 2 more days just to dry it out.
Yeah. And then we'll spray it with mold spray.
Okay.
And then we'll insulate it and put the sheetrock back up, start putting it back together.
And the family, will they move back in?
Yeah. They're scared right now. This family is particularly scared right now with the river of coming back in.
I bet.
Yeah.
Whole new appreciation for what had happened.
Yeah.
So they were on the roof?
It was on the roof. Yep.
Full hour and 15 minutes. It's the last stop of the day, I understand. Well, sort of. Anyway, so without further ado, I introduce Senator Patty Murray.
Thank you. Great to see you here in person. Richard, nice. You survived the van trip. And I want to just thank all of you, especially in the audience who came out today, and all of our folks here.
Just numerous things, and a lot of things are going to crop up as time goes by that don't even show today. As I mentioned to you, some of our bridges, the water and the debris so high, we don't know what kind of damage is we're going to find underneath them. Even though the bridge is still there, there's going to be a lot of scour and problems. So this is my major concern is when is the emergency over with? And we've had a problem with that in the past, and I'm not going to play that game again. So when the emergency is declared over with, everything seems to stop right then.
Because FEMA has made some statements about perhaps they might do some audits, some of this money have to be paid back, people are afraid to use the money, or alternatively, they're afraid to receive donations. So anything you can do that would get FEMA to hand us, because I know this question's come up before, it has to have come up before, a sheet of for what is this money allowed to be used, and what other donations can you receive from third parties. I'm also a board member of United Way, and United Way's had the same question. As we give monies out, we don't want to cause any harm. We don't want to create a situation where individuals receive assistance from us and thereby become the subject of an audit by the federal government. So anything that can be done in that area would be most helpful.
I would argue, and I think that a number of other folks would argue with me, that this was not a normal flood event. We never had Boisfort Valley flooded to the extent that it was flooded this time, nor the Dryad and Doty area. And that's predominantly because of the fact that we had a damming along a bridge with debris and mud causing a lake behind it until it built up the pressure to break through, goes down again, goes down again. By the time we're through the third or fourth of these measures, we've got a huge wall of water. It's the same thing as a tsunami or tidal wave coming through. And so we don't want FEMA to set new marks without looking at the flood and how it occurred, the nature of it, so that we don't get into problems where we can't repair public facilities or other facilities.
And any essential public facilities, including bridges and roads, are going to have to be 3 feet above that base flood elevation. And I would suggest that if someone were to go up and look at actually what caused the event, they're going to see a number of things that contributed to that are anomalous. They're not normally associated with flooding, and I think Commissioner Abrams hit on that. But this is an immediate need. These people are trying to get back into their homes. They can't determine, or we can't determine, what to tell them, how high they need to build. We tell them it's 15 feet in the air, and later the FEMA in conjunction with the Corps comes and say, oh no, this was an anomalous flood. We've told people, and they've spent a whole bunch of time and effort building 15 feet in the air. But if we tell them that we use the old base flood from 1991, and then 1981, excuse me, thank you, my building official, and we allow them to build with that, and they get another flood 5-10 years from now, potentially we're liable.
Both system intakes were obliterated. The treatment plant at Adna was flooded with 2 foot of muddy water. We're scrambling now to reestablish an intake on their main source of supply. The difficulty for them is that the watershed has been so devastated with the amount of landslides and log jams that are in that watershed. We are on a boil water notice, and the company will remain on a boil water notice for several weeks, perhaps months to come. And the reason for that is that with every rainfall now, there's enough mud that comes into that creek, the turbidity is so high you can't treat it to drinking water standards. And when you get into that upper watershed, the devastation is just incredible. And the logging practices should potentially be evaluated for some of those steep watersheds. There were some pretty good cuts and some pretty steep ground. And though they meet the letter of the law, you have to ask yourself, when you see that kind of devastation now, what happens in the future if we continue to cut like that? And that's another thing that may bear some long-term evaluation. But again, in wrap-up, we've had a lot of great support. We're getting tremendous support from the state agencies, great local support, and particularly support from the congressional delegation. Thank you very much.
And the citizens who live here, your patience and all you've been through, going out there today and seeing the impact on people's homes is just incredible for all of us who go home and turn on our lights and have a shower, and know that for more than a month, many people down here have not had that. It's overwhelming. There will be more questions a month from now. I bet you anything. It'll be new things that you face as you get through the process, as you try and start looking at your infrastructure and getting through some of the processes of deciding who's going to make a decision about how you're going to get that bridge out of the river and what rules impact that. And I want you to know we will stay with you on this. This is a long-term, long-time impact, and I don't want anybody to feel like we're going to get in a helicopter and leave you today. We're not. And I want you to know that there's a lot of people out there who really want to help you. I'm one of them. I know there's a lot of them, and we will keep my staff in touch with you, try and solve some of the issues you face today. For the homeowners who aren't back in your homes, just all of my sympathy goes to every single one of you. We want to work with you till you find a place you're comfortable with, and if it's not that home, and I can certainly understand that from some people who are sitting on the roof waiting for a helicopter, we want to work with you in any way we can. There's a lot of people out there who do, and we'll stay with you to the end on this. So.